If we can control the emotionality within our minds, within our worlds, we control our destiny. We control our dreams. Now, against great odds, I achieved my dream into getting into Stanford University and out of Salamanca. And without a definitive plan, I decided upon an academic path towards medical school. But unknowingly in my heart and mind still had a passionate love of the arts. While pursuing my pre-med requirements, I would always find a way to perform. Prior to and during college, in my free time, I'd be singing along to heavy metal ballads and musical theater cast recordings, study breaks, and during study breaks and traveling between music lessons and classes, I did this so much that I became a very, very good singer. And during one of my summer internships between my sophomore and junior years of college, on a whim, I attended an audition for Miss Saigon, the biggest Broadway musical hit at the time. And I did great. And you know what? I didn't get it. Point blank, I failed. That first audition was the summer of 1993. Now, that could have been it. At that point, I could have started framing the world in a way that other people saw it. I could have, at that moment, started programming my way into thinking, I'm not right for this. I'm a Stanford pre-med student. I don't have formal voice or acting technique. How dare I think I can be in a Broadway musical? But I didn't. I auditioned again, and I failed again. Fall of 1993. Winter 1993? Nope. And spring of 1994? Didn't get it again. And people would tell me, and I promise you, they'll tell you a version of this sometime, he lives in his own world. You know, perhaps I was naive. Perhaps I was foolish. In hindsight, obviously, I wasn't. Because after my audition in the summer of 1994, a year and 4 auditions later, I received a call at Stanford at the start of my senior year asking me to join the company of Miss Saigon. Thank you. I got it. Another impossible dream. Now, throughout this process, I was able to control my thoughts and my emotions enough so that I never had negative thoughts. I could have, and you know what? No one would have faulted me for it. No one would have faulted me because that was reality. That was the world that we were living in. People who loved me, who supported me, didn't want to see me get hurt. They didn't want to see me fail, so they tried to steer me away toward the way in which the world operated. Not my world. In my mind, in my world, I didn't fail. You know, I framed it in such a way that said it wasn't my time yet. I needed to finish school first. I need to train and study. And I did, because that's what I needed to do to make the dream happen. And it happened. Once you start to control the emotional narrative of your mind, the voices inside your head, that's when you start to control the world around you. If you can't control your emotions around everyday events, you're no longer in charge. You essentially start living in someone else's world, living the path of someone else's dream. Don't. Live in your own world. And remember, you can't just dream. A great deal of work is necessary. Work, scientifically, as we know, is force times distance. Force is energy, and distance for our purposes is time. The greater the goal, the greater the energy must be in a finite amount of time, or the greater the time will be when a constant energy is applied. In most cases, an increased amount of both is necessary. This is the only way great work is accomplished. This is the only way dreams come true. Dreams are work. No shortcuts. And don't be afraid of failure. Embrace failure. I believe failure to be a prerequisite to dream fulfillment. Wisdom is in the framing of those failures. These failures will inform you on how much more energy and time you need to make something happen. If you frame it properly, you'll realize failure doesn't exist. Failure is simply a map telling you how not to get somewhere. And know this, you are not judged by your failures. You're judged by your successes. And your successes will be in direct proportion to how many times you fail and try again. A dear teacher named Bob Nugent from Salamanca, New York, taught me this in middle school, and I'll never forget it. Rest in peace. Now, I assure you, I need to remind myself of everything I'm telling you now on a daily basis, sometimes on an hourly basis. But I ask myself, what right do I have telling you something that I'm still learning how to do myself? Well, they say the best way to get to know how to do something is to teach it. So again, thank you for this opportunity. But I tell you this because it doesn't get easier as time goes by. As more of your dreams become a reality, and they will, more structure, more rules will suddenly appear. With absolute certainty, I can tell you that your dreams will become more involved with the dreams of infinitely more people as time goes on, and that will become difficult to negotiate. Expectations from the world, and especially by you, will weigh on you and test your ability to control your world. You must always maintain control of that world and frame your world in the way that you need it to be.